For decades, Japan's government operated with a clear hierarchy, one that placed Tokyo firmly at the top. Tokyo made the decisions, and local governments executed them. This top-down approach shaped everything from education to infrastructure. Powerful ministries dictated policies nationwide, creating a sense of unity and order. For example, the Ministry of Education set a single national curriculum, leaving little room for local adaptation. Local mayors and governors were expected to cooperate, rarely challenging Tokyo's authority. In the 1970s, when a rural mayor tried to introduce a unique welfare program, Tokyo quickly intervened, insisting on uniformity. Open defiance was almost unheard of, as harmony and compliance were deeply valued. The concept of social harmony, meant that dissent was often quietly discouraged. This centralized system has roots in the Meiji Restoration, when a strong national government was seen as essential for modernization. The new Meiji leaders abolished feudal domains, replacing them with prefectures directly controlled from Tokyo. After World War II, national ministries led Japan's economic recovery, with local governments playing a supporting role. The Ministry of International Trade and Industry, for instance, steered industrial policy, deciding which regions would receive factories and investment. Most people accepted that Tokyo's experts knew best, and local compliance was the norm. In the 1980s, when a small town wanted to experiment with alternative energy, Tokyo's approval was required, and often denied. Financial dependence reinforced this dynamic. Local budgets relied heavily on national tax allocations and subsidies. The local allocation tax, for example, meant that over half of many towns' budgets came directly from Tokyo. Questioning Tokyo risked losing crucial funding for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. In one case, a prefecture that resisted a national dam project saw its road funding quietly reduced. For generations, cooperation wasn't just tradition, it was survival. Local leaders learned that aligning with Tokyo brought stability and resources to their communities. But this long-standing order is now facing new pressures. As local needs diversify and citizens demand more autonomy, the once unquestioned dominance of Tokyo is being challenged in ways Japan hasn't seen for over a century. Recently, the authority of Tokyo is being challenged by a surprising source: local mayors. Across Japan, city leaders are becoming more assertive, sometimes openly defying national policies. In Yokohama, Mayor Takeharu Yamanaka recently pushed back against a government casino plan, saying, "Our residents' voices must come first." This isn't a coordinated rebellion, but a response to urgent local issues. In Sapporo, the mayor's refusal to follow national COVID-19 guidelines sparked debate and won praise from local business owners. Japan's shrinking, aging population is hitting towns hard. Schools close, businesses struggle, and elderly care is stretched thin. One local shop owner shared, "If not for our mayor's support, we would have closed last year." Local leaders see that Tokyo's one-size-fits-all solutions don't work for their communities. At a recent town hall, the mayor of Akita said, "We know our people best. Local problems need local answers." Major disasters like the 2011 earthquake exposed the limits of centralized response and highlighted the importance of local leadership. The mayor of Sendai recalled, "We had to make decisions on the ground. Waiting for Tokyo Hill wasn't an option." Public trust in mayors has grown, giving them a stronger mandate to act. In a recent poll, over 60% of residents said they trust their mayor more than national politicians. Mayors now channel the concerns of their communities, questioning national policies that don't fit local realities. The mayor of Osaka recently challenged a national tax plan, stating, "We need policies that reflect our city's needs." The result? A new breed of local leader, willing to challenge the old ways. As one young mayor put it, braked, "We're not just following Tokyo anymore, we're leading our own future." Japan's demographic crisis is fueling local assertiveness. By 2023, nearly 30% of Japan's population was over 65, and in some rural towns, that number exceeds 40%. For mayors, population decline means empty streets, fewer children, and shrinking tax bases. In Yubari, Hokkaido, the population plummeted from 120,000 in the 1960s to under 7,000 today. National strategies from Tokyo often feel disconnected from local realities. In the town of Nagoro, only a handful of residents remain, and life-size dolls now outnumber people. Mayors can't wait for Tokyo. They're experimenting with their own solutions, even if it means pushing national boundaries. In Akita Prefecture, Mayor Sato launched a grandchild relocation program, offering incentives for families to move back. Some actively recruit foreign workers, offering language and housing support to revitalize their towns. In Akitakata, a Filipino nurse named Maria shares how the town welcomed her family, helping them settle and thrive. Immigration for them is a practical tool for survival, not a political issue. In Oizumi, over 15% of residents are foreign-born, and local schools now offer Portuguese and Tagalog language support. With less tax revenue and rising costs for elderly care, mayors face tough choices, closing facilities, cutting services, and demanding more from Tokyo. In Shimane, Mayor Tanaka describes the heartbreak of shutting down the town's only daycare. They're increasingly vocal about how national funds are distributed. In 2022, over 100 mayors signed a petition demanding fairer funding for aging regions. The pressure to protect their communities is making local leaders more critical and proactive than ever. For many, it's not just policy, it's personal, as they watch their hometowns struggle to survive. Over the past decades, natural disasters and emergencies have repeatedly tested Japan's local governments and transformed the public's view of their leaders. The 2011 earthquake and tsunami exposed the slow bureaucratic response from Tokyo, but it wasn't the only crisis. Typhoons, floods, and even volcanic eruptions have forced local leaders to act fast. In the chaos, mayors and municipal staff took charge, organizing evacuations, distributing supplies, and leading rescue efforts. During the Kumamoto earthquakes, local officials set up shelters within hours, while residents watched national agencies struggle to keep up. Their hands-on leadership, whether giving instructions in flooded neighborhoods or comforting evacuees, left a lasting impression on their communities. Mayors were no longer seen as mere administrators, but as true leaders in crisis, communicating directly with citizens and making tough decisions in real time. Trust in local officials soared as people saw their dedication up close, while faith in distant ministries waned. In many towns, residents credited their survival to the quick thinking of their mayor and municipal teams. This trust became political capital, empowering mayors to speak out on a range of issues, from disaster recovery to long-term urban planning. Having acted independently in emergencies, many mayors gained confidence in their judgment and the support of their communities. They're now more likely to propose their own solutions and challenge national directives, drawing on the trust built during crises. The legacy of disaster is a generation of self-reliant, assertive local leaders, many of whom have learned from each other's experiences. They're shaping their communities with newfound autonomy, and the trust earned in emergencies continues to guide their leadership. The assertiveness of mayors is most visible on national issues like energy, defense, and even immigration policy. After the Fukushima disaster, mayors of towns like Tomioka and Futaba, which host nuclear plants, blocked restarts by refusing to sign off on government plans. They demanded stricter safety standards and comprehensive evacuation strategies, forcing the central government to delay or even cancel reactor restarts in some cases. These mayors prioritized local safety over the national energy strategy, a dramatic shift from the past, and their resistance led to new national safety regulations and more transparent decision-making. In Okinawa, mayors like Takeshi Onaga led fierce opposition to new U.S. military base construction, citing noise, safety, and fairness. Their campaigns resulted in prolonged legal battles and forced Tokyo to negotiate with local governments, delaying base relocations for years. Mayors are also using media to rally public opinion, turning local disputes, like school curriculum changes or refugee resettlement, into national debates that pressure lawmakers in Tokyo. Their voices now reach far beyond their towns, forcing Tokyo to respond with policy changes or new negotiations. These acts of defiance are no longer rare. They're reshaping the political landscape, with some mayors even inspiring similar movements in other regions. Local leaders are now setting the agenda on issues that once belonged solely to the central government, and their successes are encouraging more mayors to take bold stands with real, lasting outcomes. Mayors don't stand alone. They mobilize their communities through direct engagement and active participation. Town hall meetings, public forums, and open Q&A sessions let citizens voice concerns, share ideas, and build consensus. Local referendums, petitions, and grassroots campaigns, even if not legally binding, send powerful messages to Tokyo. Alliances with civil groups, business leaders, and diverse community organizations add credibility and create a united front. When respected locals and community leaders back the mayor, their stance gains legitimacy and reflects real feedback from residents. Mayors who fight for local interests and listen to their communities are often rewarded at the ballot box. Electoral victories validate their assertiveness and warn Tokyo against ignoring local sentiment. Democratic accountability, ongoing feedback, and open communication are the foundation of their influence. Today's mayors are leaders chosen by and answerable to their people, constantly engaging with citizens through events, campaigns, and direct feedback. Despite Tokyo's power, reining in defiant mayors isn't easy, and history shows just how limited central control can be. Japan's constitution guarantees local governments a degree of autonomy. For example, in 2011, Osaka's mayor Toru Hashimoto pushed through sweeping city reforms, despite resistance from the central government. Cities and prefectures can manage their own affairs unless they conflict with national law. During the COVID-19 pandemic, some local leaders, like Fukuoka's mayor, implemented stricter measures than those recommended by Tokyo. The central government can pressure, but not always command, local leaders. When local policies diverge, Tokyo often finds itself negotiating rather than dictating. Political risks are high. Bullying a popular mayor can backfire and damage the ruling party. In the 1990s, attempts to override local opposition to nuclear power plants led to public protests and electoral losses for national politicians. National politicians rely on local support for their own elections, making them cautious about alienating influential mayors. Open confrontation risks party divisions and public backlash. Recent debates over school curriculum changes saw local boards openly defy Tokyo's guidelines, sparking national controversy. As a result, Tokyo often negotiates and compromises, giving mayors more room to maneuver, an ongoing dynamic shaped by both law and political reality. Is Japan witnessing a true transformation in local governance, or is this just a fleeting moment of change? Some experts argue this is a lasting shift. Japan's demographic decline and rising public demand for proactive mayors are structural forces that won't disappear soon. Political scientists point out that assertive local leaders are now rewarded at the polls, reinforcing a trend toward greater local autonomy. According to municipal governance experts, decentralization is happening from the ground up, driven by necessity and local innovation. Yet other analysts caution that Tokyo still holds the financial levers and could reassert control if a major crisis hits. Some predict that a strong national leader or external threat could quickly shift the balance back to central authority, as has happened in Japan's past. In times of national emergency, local dissent might be seen as unpatriotic, leading to a clampdown on local autonomy. The future, experts say, depends on whether current conditions, like demographic pressures and public expectations, persist or shift. Most agree the balance of power is fluid and could shift again with new political or economic realities. For now, though, local assertiveness is undeniably reshaping Japanese politics, and many experts believe this could mark the beginning of a new era, even if challenges remain. The rise of defiant mayors marks a turning point in Japan's political story. The old model of centralized control is being challenged by confident, responsive local leaders. They use democracy, public meetings, media, and elections to push for local autonomy. Mayors are pushing back on national policies, not for rebellion, but for their community's survival. Legal protections and political risks mean Tokyo must negotiate, not dictate. This new dynamic is generating ideas and experiments that could help solve Japan's toughest challenges. From revitalizing rural towns to championing green energy and disaster resilience, local leaders are proving that real change starts at home. Whether this leads to lasting change remains to be seen, but the era of quiet compliance is over. Across Japan, a new generation of mayors is shaping the nation's future from the ground up, one bold idea at a time.